Electric cars using street-level elevators to drop down into a series of tunnels. Autonomous technology in the cars ensure that they don't run into each other, despite going speeds over 125 miles an hour.
Tunnels are, in my view, the only solution to urban congestion because we have a 2D road network and we have buildings in 3D. And everyone wants to pile out of those buildings and into those buildings at the same time. Obviously, you're going to have a traffic jam.
No one was building such a system, so Musk formed the amusingly named Boring Company and started building it himself. He hired Steve Davis to be the company's new president. Steve, you're an engineer at SpaceX. You've been there for
15 years.
So when Elon came to you and said, I had this idea to do what did he say to you?
Go dig a hole.
He had no experience doing tunnels and said, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
Steve, that didn't give you pause?
Learn from scratch. So probably the first day you won't be the best at it, but then you'll get better.
About a year ago, that company started digging what has become today's 1.2-mile-long test tunnel. It's in Hawthorne, near Los Angeles.
Unless we can make tunnel digging at least 10 times cheaper, then digging tunnels will not be an effective means of alleviating traffic. It'll just cost too much. These are tunnel reinforcing segments.
Musk's vision depends on him being able to do it all, faster and cheaper than current industry standards. While modern subway tunnels in Los Angeles cost around $900 million per mile, he says he built this for about $10 million. One way he made money, he literally made it dirt cheap.
When digging tunnels, that's quite expensive to have all this dirt trucked off somewhere. And we're like, well, why don't we try to use that dirt for something useful? So we're creating bricks on site. And you can pick them up for they're very cheap, 10 cents a brick.
So all of these bricks
Yeah.
came out of the tunnel.
Yes.
But speeding up the process was also a cause for concern. The city of Hawthorne granted Musk an exemption from typical environmental impact reviews required under California law. And in nearby neighborhoods where the tunnel runs, some residents told us they never even heard about the project until it was almost finished. Some members of the community seem to feel that they didn't really have input into that decision.
We actually sent letters to everyone. I think that there's normally like a radius that you have to inform people. We doubled that radius and informed people. You know, and I think in any situation, there's going to be a few percentage of people that grumble.
There was also grumbling from another area, the wealthier Los Angeles neighborhood of Brentwood, which is nearby Musk's proposed second test tunnel along busy Sepulveda Boulevard. Community groups sued the city of Los Angeles for also granting an environmental review waiver there. In August, Musk announced he was no longer building that tunnel.
But there's some like retired lawyers in Brentwood that all they do is sue, like literally. They just automatically sue. It's like a hobby.
But those lawsuits sort of shut it down in Sepulveda, did it not?
No, we decided that another test tunnel is really needed. I'm not fazed by lawsuits.
You can't go off the tracks, right?
No,
that's what you're saying?
You cannot go off the tracks.
At first glance, the tunnel is a bit daunting. It's only 12 feet in diameter, so it's much more claustrophobic than most transportation tunnels.
We'll be able to go like 150 miles an hour if we want.
If you're going that fast, what's to prevent it from crashing into another car ahead of you? That's what I worry about that.
Because the autopilot has radar and cameras that will automatically slow you down before you impact another car. You'd only be allowed to go through the tunnel on autopilot.
At the end of our 4-minute adventure, the verdict? That was scary, but that was kind of cool. And by the time we started up the elevator that returned us to the surface...
It'll be faster in practice. This is just going slow because it's early days.
I don't want to go any faster than what we just did. No, thank you. And when it was all over, it was easier to see how this proof-of-concept tunnel could actually be a preview of the world to come.
At this point, I'm confident this can revolutionize cities and get rid of soul-destroying traffic.
Well, I had lots of questions. Elon Musk's a very confident young man. So obviously, the first thing I thought about California, earthquake-prone area. But for anybody worried about that and a tunnel collapse, he has an answer for that too. He's told me that earthquakes really do all of their damage on the surface, not underground. He says they're like waves hitting a boat floating on top of the ocean, and that you'd rather be in a submarine deep underwater if there's a big storm. He also points out that historically, people who were in subway tunnels during earthquakes escaped serious injuries like the 1968